What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Dead Noise. I'm Chris, that's Johnny, that's Nick, and we're here to talk about the comedy show No One Asked For, Part 2. So we're 1 month removed from Part 1. You both were a part of it. How did that event go for you guys? How do you think it went? And was there anything that surprised you to take away from it?
Well, kind of right off the rip, the first thing I think for myself especially that surprised me was the sheer amount of people that showed up right off the rip. Because I went outside to look right before we were to open the doors, and the line was just huge, wrapped around the building, as we would call it. And that just in itself was surprising for me because it was the first one. This guy had a lot to do with it, and a couple of the other comedians had a lot to do with it, seriously. Mm-hmm. By bringing another element of, audience attendee to an event that we just started doing. Mm-hmm. This is something that we did in our Chris's trailer. Not you, Chris, but the other Chris, and for it to be like brought to life on stage with other things involved and having that many people show up, it was just surprising. Yeah, share the mic.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at all. I'd actually lied to everybody. I told them that Louis C.K. was actually coming. So, everybody was pissed when they found out that Louis C.K. was not actually coming. And then it was just me, a very Jewish-looking Italian. Look, it went as planned. Look, it was a little long. I think if you came to the first show, come to the second one. We're revamping stuff, but as far as the first show, it was super fun. I honestly didn't expect the turnout the way it happened. We did have a line wrapping around the building. That line was longer than a bar of cocaine inside of a business trader's bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, it went all the way around the sink. As far as the first show, it was fun. We had a lot of fun doing it. And now I sound like Trump, dude. I'm like fucking, it was...
We had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Big Lee.
Yeah, I came in and I said, wow, what a nice place. The first one, we had great comedians. The podcast portion was fun. What we noticed the most is that, one, I say a lot, and two, that the show is just a little long. So Johnny can kind of expound on some of the revamping of episode 2.
Before we actually get to that, you mentioned bringing what started in Chris Vance's trailer to life on stage.
100%.
I can imagine how surreal that was for you, and also to you. How
thundering bass in the background. I love it.
I was wondering what that was. It's sunny outside.
I hope it picks it up on the microphone.
But also for you, were you familiar with Interviews No One Asked For, and how did it feel for both of you to bring that series to life on stage?
I've watched there's not an episode I've missed.
That's a lie.
I've been such a fan since... When did it start? I've been such a fan since all of last year. Those 12 months of all 30 episodes. Well, I didn't see... I guess it was 30. I've seen them all. Yeah.
He's a fucking liar. Don't let him lie to you. He's really good. Like the way he got the audience here with Louis C.K., he's doing the exact same thing now. That motherfucker's lying. What was the question again?
How did it feel to bring that series to life?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it felt great. It's something that Chris had started on his own, like through COVID, as a way to kind of just keep in touch with friends, I think, and just do something to pass the time. And then he and I became close as a result of some shit that I was dealing with. And then when I got the gig here a few years back, officially, he had some people coming to him trying to figure out more about me because to them, he was the bridge to me because they saw how close he and I were. And then it came to light by saying, let's go interview me and let's try to just expose more about me personally to everybody that's got all these questions. And then it kind of just took off. So from there it just kind of built. We started interviewing our friends, interviewing other bands, people that we didn't even know, and seeing that come from basically nothing or the situation that we were dealing with to on stage in front of 200 plus people, was it was surprising, it was humbling, it was terrifying all at the same time.
And for part 2, like you mentioned, the first one as good of a time it was, it did run a little bit long, and I think everybody kind of came to a consensus about that. What changes or revamps can we expect for part 2?
Well, right off the rip, Nick and I both sat down and discussed a lot of the particulars when it came to what we could change versus what we heard people talk about versus what we watched and reviewed ourselves, and with a group of other guys that were involved. And obviously the length was a bit, problematic, just because, like you said, people came to see Louis C.K. and he wasn't there, so they waited for 3 hours and he never showed. But I think the length ties hand in hand with the content, and the content was a little disorganized, a little loosey-goosey, a little long-winded, and there was things that people obviously had no clue we were talking about, which was, partial to the advertising aspect, because a lot of people showed up thinking it was just a straight comedy show, probably due to this fucking guy. But it was also our fault too, because we didn't advertise it truly as like a podcast / stand-up comedy show. It was just a comedy show nobody asked for. That in itself just thinks it's a comedy show straight up. So this time around, we're going to make the change to advertise it properly as what it actually is, a podcast live with stand-up comedians and some other aspects as well. So that's first and foremost what it's going to be. We're going to shorten it up a little bit, keep it nice and concise, more specifically ran, so that way the segments that we have in place run smoothly and we move one to the other, so there's no lapse, there's no sort of, lull, in the transitions of things. So that was a couple of the big changes.
Yeah, for the second show, actually, Kevin Hart hit me up. He will be here. So if you guys could.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a big book for us. He said he would actually do it for $500,000. So
that's it?
Yeah, that's it. Just $500,000. Crisp $500,000. For here at Hooligans. And so, I'm excited Kevin Hart will be here. No.
$25,000 each.
We did take it. We took it in the back, and Johnny and I were sitting in each other's laps, and we're like, how are we going to make this thing bigger, better, shorter? And I was like, well, that seems like counterintuitive. So what we did was we didn't make it bigger and badder. We just made it shorter.
Yeah, like you said, though, the main thing was shortening it up. Another big change we're making is for the first one, I didn't anticipate as many sales. And so I had the floor set up with table seating, like kind of more like a true comedy club would have, just tables with a bunch of chairs. And then I noticed that I needed to put actual just rows of chairs because we had too many sold. Yeah. And so this next one is all going to be rows. There's going to be no tables, just to fit what we expect to be another sold-out show. So people can know coming into it that it's just rows of seats and no longer any tables. Yeah, that was something else that he and I discussed in the back while we were, sitting on each other's laps.
So comedically, obviously you're the comedian of the bunch.
What gave it away?
What inspired you to pursue comedy professionally, and who would you consider to be your top creative influences?
Well, it's actually super funny that you say that. So I don't know why that I said that was funny. I mean, it's not. It's a good question, I guess.
I'm a comedian now.
Yeah. All right, make me laugh, funny man.
I can't.
That's the weird, dude. I hate that question too. People will see me out in public and they're like, "Oh, you're a comedian? Tell me a joke." And it's like, "Oh, you're a cop? Like, arrest me then." It's like, well, you're not breaking the law, So I kind of got my start in comedy by, my mom took me to a car dealership one day, and I had gotten this bright yellow Camaro, and it had racing stripes on it, and I take it home, and eventually I get it in my garage, and out of nowhere this thing just turns into a giant robot, right? So I'm like, that's kind of weird. And later on we would find out that there's this whole other planet of robots that are pretending to be cars. Okay, I have the car take me to a comedy club, and he said that I would be funny, and I wound up bombing for about 2 years before I got any traction in the comedy community. Eventually there would be more robots that appeared, some from space, some from deep in the earth, some turned into animals. I at one point met Mark Wahlberg. I have no idea how. It just happened. But that's pretty much how I got started in comedy. And that's totally not at all the plot to Transformers. No, but more seriously, I was taking pictures of my high school crush and got bit by a radioactive spider.
Yeah, that sounds.
To which I subsequently had superpowers and would become a guy who could, like, I don't know, walk on walls, spray webs, things of that nature. All right, maybe the bit's going too long. No, I got my start in comedy. I was always, I don't think I really know of too many comedians that aren't class clowns. It was really hard for me to pay attention in a lot of stuff. And by stuff, I mean classes, school. But I was a bit of a attention hog, if you guys couldn't tell by this interview. So after starting that, I would eventually, I would join the job I have now, which is kind of cool but mundane. It's kind of rinse and repeat. So that kind of pays the bills, but my passion was always to make people laugh, be on a stage, kind of express myself in very funny ways. And, that eventually unfolded to me doing pretty well at it, and I think it's something I can hopefully do for the rest of my life. But comedy is always, I don't want to be one of those soppy, like, comedy's always been a part of my life. I'm just an attention whore who likes talking on stage. I like the creative process of comedy. I think that's cool. You can come up with a premise and then kind of work it out. I do like the high stakes of comedy. It either works or it doesn't, and you can have jokes that work, you think, all the time, and there's just some nights where it just doesn't, you don't say something right, or the crowd doesn't receive it in the right lighting. So I like the high stakes performance of it all, and being able to just kind of take stuff and just be goofy on stage, I think, is probably the most freeing thing you can do. Like, if you've ever seen, I know you guys are big in the music scene, so it's like you can tell the difference between bands who are comfortable on stage and will just be like, yo, I don't know if you guys heard this, but I totally just farted and I know it's loud, like those guys who will say those things, that's where you want to get as far as like confidence. But yeah, comedy's always just kind of been a part of my life. It's helped me deal with a lot of crazy shit too. So it's like a coping mechanism for me.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
And how does it feel for you to not only be coming back for the comedy show No One Asked For Part 2, but you're also the host of the Open Mic Night here at Hooligans on August 2nd?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's pretty cool. You kind of graduate through certain communities. I think what I'm more stoked about is bringing comedy to Jacksonville. That really doesn't, I don't want to say single-handedly, right? It's Johnny and I kind of putting this stuff together. But as far as the comic talent, I know there's got to be plenty of them here. There just haven't been a lot of opportunities. So I think that's what's really cool about Hooligans and Johnny really kind of making efforts to bring comedy to Jacksonville. And it also just saves me a lot of gas having to travel to Wilmington, North Carolina. So I would say it's money in my pocket either way, I'm a Jacksonville resident for the past 11 years. So honestly, look, here's the thing. I got to say, I love Jacksonville. I think it's cool. It's right. It feels like a middle zone for a lot of cool shit here and I don't even know if we can curse, but I've been cursing this whole interview. It's a really cool spot on the coast between a lot of fun cities. You got Raleigh 2 hours away. That's got a booming comedy scene. Charlotte, Wilmington, Cape Carteret's got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff surrounding Jacksonville, but mostly the people who hate Jacksonville are the ones who don't really go exploring. Of course, this town is nothing but fast food, barbershops, and titty bars. And of course, my favorite place, Hooligans. I say again, Hooligans, not music hall. It's just Hooligans Live. Stop saying that online.
I'm sorry.
So it's got really fun stuff. Johnny said that to me. literally
wondering if
minutes
you put him
before
upside
this
down.
started. Stop. All right. Yeah, no. I just want to really sincerely point everything back to kind of Johnny and Hooligans and like being able to put on a lot of this stuff. None of this. You can have comedy on the streets. Dave Chappelle does shit like that. Not me. You know, like I don't have the following or the name in the city yet. So like for Hooligans, Johnny, everybody to kind of put that on here for Jacksonville to kind of highlight some of the local comics and the local talent, I think is a bigger and more graceful handoff to what the events kind of mean to me. Because to me, like, they're shows, you know, and each one of them are important, but what matters more is getting the scene established, and that's, I think, what we're trying to do here.
Sure. Yeah, to play off of what he said, basically it's something that we're doing, you know, cooperatively to help establish that there are comedians here. There is a place the comedians can go and perform. Obviously, we're not a traditional comedy club, but we've done comedy in the past very, you know, sporadically, very here and there. You know, I've done guys like John Reap. I've been here even before the other clubs that I was at. We had like Carlos Mencia or you know, Pauly Shore. Carlos Mencia.
Oh yeah.
Either way, you know, so it's a nice thing to try to bring in. So we have, not only do we give comedy a place to exist, but we also, on the hooligan side of things, have something more. You know, we offer more variety. It's not just a rock concert or a club concert or a club night. You know, whatever. It's something else to add. Yeah. You know, we're a multi-entertainment venue, and so it's great working with guys like Nick to help cultivate a place for that demographic to come and enjoy what they, you know, don't have elsewhere in the immediate area. They have to drive, like you said, you have to drive to Wilmington or go to Raleigh or go anywhere but here. So it's nice to be able to offer that, you know. And I've been leaning on Nick very heavily to you share with his experience, and I hope that you can pick up the phone ringing in the background.
Dude, that shit fucking, him leaning on me hurts my back.
I lean on him pretty heavily, honestly, you know. After we're not greased up, so I can stay on it, you know. If we were slickly and oily, we'd slide right off. But yeah, he's the comedy on the ground. He's helping fill the slots that we need to fill. Hey man, he's more connected than I see. Like me, bands and finding rock bands to open up for shows is as easy as me texting like 5 friends and having an entire calendar full. You know, so for comedy, it's not that easy for me. And so that's where he comes into play for sure, with his, like I said, his expertise and how it's supposed to run based off of what I'm thinking it can do. So he really, you know, ties up the loose ends for me.
I'm such a fucking expert. I'm the expertise here in Jacksonville. Nobody better than me. People ask all the time, like, what do you do for crowd work? As far as comedy, like, you're gonna have to do crowd work eventually. Just as you develop as a comedian, when you start getting into some of those like racier topics or edgier topics, you're gonna have people that are verbally disagreeing with that, and that's the only, like, that's what's so cool about stand-up, is that you have to deal with it on site, and it could either, like, depending on how you deal with it, will determine the rest of the show. Essentially, you're like essentially putting out these small fires. But if it's presented in a way that's digestible and not so demeaning, which that's another thing. Everybody today thinks that like comedy is just saying the most offensive shit, and that's not it, right? Like there still have to be punchlines. So if you're coming out August 2nd and you come up with some bullshit and you're just saying things because you think it's funny, you're probably not going to do well. But come on out anyway. I'd love to see you I'd love to watch. I'd like to be the cuckold of comedy for you, you know? I'll watch you do it, but, you know, you got to have punchlines, right? And that's the biggest thing, is like when you start out in comedy, you don't know what a fucking punchline is. So you're just saying shit.
That's what I want to call you, though. Nick Racioppi, the cuckold of comedy. Oh, shit.
That could be your fighter name.
That's going to be my first special name.
Oh my gosh.
I can't wait for it. I want to be there for it. I better
Same.
whenever you're like there.
I'll do it.
Fly me out.
If I ever get to the point in my career where I can film a special, it's going to be at Dead Crow Comedy Room. It's the place I started. It's coming back there for my first special.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be
Fuck
awesome.
Hooligans, right? Yeah.
This guy.
It took you guys 10 years to start getting comedy. No,
I mean, moving on. What's the next question?
yeah. More questions.
More questions. So for anybody that missed the first show and with the second one coming up, what should they expect, or what would you tell them to make them not miss the second show?
Kevin Hart's coming. We already said that. Next question.
Yeah. We have a new lineup. Some individuals are returning, but we have a lot of fun people coming out. I don't know who the guests for the podcast are.
We could tag team it if you want. We've got okay. Well, you got me and you've got. Let's get close. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll say one. You say one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we've got Court Dixon.
Dylan.
Just Dylan. We've got Talon Detmers.
Zach Burke.
We've got Connor T. Last name. I can't pronounce your fucking last name, bro.
Chris O'Mara.
We've got Brian Davenport, the guy that you said looks like a stretched out baby.
He does 100% look like a stretched out baby. Mike Bird.
And Sam Friant.
And then I will be, never mind. I'm Nick Racioppi, just me.
And you're going to have me and Chris Vance and Ryan Stevens. There's going to be DJing / sound effects / standing there co-hosting. I don't know, whatever he does. He's going to be there doing it.
Before I let you guys go, we did talk about music a little bit off camera earlier, and this is primarily a music channel, so for the sake of relevance, what are some upcoming events at Hooligans that you're both pretty excited for in the coming, to the end of the year?
August 2nd, Open Mic Comedy Show, hosted by this fucking guy. And August 25th, the other comedy show that no one asked for. That's the only thing that matters.
You can fucking take that to the bank, brother. Who was the one that was right after? I remember being intrigued. The one right after the open mic.
Afro Man.
That's
Literally
right.
the very next day.
Yeah,
Afro
yeah,
Man.
yeah. I fucks with Afro Man so heavy. I do. I fucks with the Afro Man. Born of
Osiris,
Okay, yeah. I didn't know.
that's
I didn't know if that was already released. So I was like, Born of People.
Born about that, and Upon a Burning Body and Traitors are both
Yeah.
on that. And I know you said you're a big UABB fan.
Yeah, dude. I'm pretty excited for those ones coming up. I gotta say.
I know
I
you're
think
excited.
I'll be popping in.
You're excited for Michael Graves, the original singer.
Yeah,
or
dude.
not
How do
the
you
original,
fucking
but-
like it? How do you like it?
Yeah. What are you excited for?
I'm excited for Ginger, Alisana, Echo Stone with Trapped, Michael Graves.
Not Trapped.
I forgot fucking Trapped is coming, dude. Everybody knows them for Headstrong. I'm telling you, that whole album rips. It is still, dude, Made of Glass,
Still frame?
fucking Hollow Man. That whole album rips.
Biggest fan.
Love Trapped, dude. They're fucking awesome. Yeah, I was listening to Trapped on my way in here.
Were you?
Not even joking.
Sick. No,
I
they
love
have some
Trapped.
Still Frame and Echo.
Bangers. Yeah,
Echo are
dude.
fucking huge.
Echoes rips, Still Frame.
Good song.
And, dude, Trapped were on par with, like, Linkin Park. Their videos would go, like, back and forth. That's what it felt like. Their videos were always so, like, edgy, but, like, you know, there's, like, a fucking... for some reason, there's a lot of glass. We don't know why. Everybody's reflections going. The fucking guitars are going. The dude's slapping the bass, the drummer, you know?
Yeah, all of that.
Their fucking videos are sick. I fucks with Trapped, too. So I'm going to do... It's right there. Yeah.
So come see Nick Racioppi open for Trapped August 12th.
Yeah, let me meet them, dude.
You can meet him.
Yeah.
You can meet him.
I'm all about it.
Sure. Chris Taylor Brown, he's going to meet you. Biggest
Hi.
fan.
Uh,
I don't know what to do anymore.
I'm already game planning social media posts when I take a picture.
We'll trade. We'll just pass the mic. I'm trying to think of what other shows got announced, because you've announced so many of them.
There's a lot.
Where can they find them at?
Yeah, hooliganslive.com. You already know that. You're asking the guy that tells you every time. hooliganslive.com. You can get the open mic comedy tickets right there as well. They include a free beverage. It's $5 fucking dollars, and you get a free drink, and he gets the other bit.
Dang.
You're paying this guy, actually.
I would like to get paid that. No, I'm just kidding. You guys can find me on Instagram, Nick at night. So it's NICKED_AT_night. I have my link tree and all that stuff in there. So if you guys could, please give me a follow. Again, I'm
Links
a
in the bio.
huge fan of Dead Noise. I've
wanna do
watched
that.
every single episode.
How many episodes are there?
Yeah.
When did you start this?
A lot. Yeah, there's a lot of them. You've seen them all.
I've watched it for the whole 12 months. He started this channel, and I've been a day one.
What's your name again?
Chris has been such an influence on my life, and I am not looking at a golf game in the corner like I'm more preoccupied
Vladimir
with the
Putin?
advertisement for a golf game, okay? That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm very sincere when I say I've watched every episode of Dead Noise.
Well, thank you for lying straight to my face.
That's the only way to do it.
way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Hart's going to be here, right?
Yeah. That's the truth, though.
August 25th, 9 p.m.,
Doors 8, show 9, I think, something like that.
something like that.
Who's your favorite comic?
I'm looking at both of them, but
That's the only right answer, motherfucker.
I was going to say one of you, but I'm like, shit, which one? Which one?
He's not a comedian, I am, so that means I win.
That was my thought process.
You're both banned from Hooligans Live.
Fuck, how am I supposed to host?
It was a good run while it lasted.
All right, this is Chris from Dead Noise. I'm Johnny Cutt. This is Nick Racioppi. Come and catch us August 2nd and August 25th right here for both comedy shows. Yeah, hooliganslive.com.
We're out.
Bitch.